My most socially awkward experience was at this startup conference I went to. Yeah. Actually, the common answer would be like going on a date or asking someone out and, failing horribly at that. But I had a few of those instances when I was younger. But this startup conference, this is definitely my most socially awkward experience. And looking back, it was very cringy, just how the whole thing went down. So I'm going to talk about it because maybe it will help you feel better, or maybe it'll build your confidence in your next social situation. But I go to this like overnight startup conference, and it's like part networking, part entrepreneurship. And the premise of the whole thing is that you would have like a startup idea that you want to work on, and you would come to this conference and you would share your idea amongst about 100 or 200 other people, and then you'd convince them to join your team to work on that startup idea overnight. So you'd be working on the minimum viable product overnight. And, well, you don't have to have an idea for a startup, but you could be like a supporting cast member. You could be like a designer or engineer or a marketer and join that team and then work on the product or work on the company idea. But it has to be a new idea, and you've only got X amount of hours and you're working on it overnight. Anyway, I'm dressed up, I've got the suit on, and I look like I'm ready to go, and it's in the downtown city, so I'm a bit nervous kind of leading up to it because, well, I'm actually the one who's coming in with an idea. So I have a startup idea, and I'm coming to the event with this startup idea. And my job will be to convince people to like join my team and whatnot. So basically anyone that has the business idea and they want to share it, they want to be the founder of the idea, they have to come up with their microphone and they have to talk about their idea. Now this is about 5 or 6 years ago, so I'm going to be maybe a little bit fuzzy on some of the details, but I had to go up and talk over the microphone in front of all these people and convince them of my idea. And I was already socially awkward as it was. Like, I'm introverted and I don't like talking about something, and also it was like a new idea that I was coming to the table with, and I actually didn't really know too much about it, so I wasn't confident in my idea. So it was already like kind of like a disaster waiting to happen, I guess. But I gave it my best effort on a positive note, and I think I maybe stumbled a bit, and like I wasn't 100% confident. And after hearing all these other ideas, like there were about 20 or 30 people that went ahead of me, and their ideas were so much better. I was like 4th or 5th last in presenting my idea. And I had like a script all written out, and I was ready to talk about it and be enthusiastic. And I tried to say some jokes, and the jokes fell flat, and the room was too serious. I mean, this is all like techie type people, and very serious type people, and the laughs didn't happen, and it was a total joke. And I was nervous. And then, so after you do the presentation, you have like 2 minutes to do your elevator pitch. Then you have to go around the room and convince people to join your group. And like the room was loud. It was a fairly large room, but there were tons of people and everyone was talking. And I realized that I had no ability to like basically scream and shout, "Hey, come over here," and like join my idea. Like, join my team. And nobody could hear me. So, like, I got, like, one dude. One dude decided, hey, yeah, I like you. You're a nice guy. I'm going to join your team. So then there's the two of us, and we're trying to get basically popularity votes. Trying to get as many people on our team as possible to show, like, the popularity of the idea. And only, like, I think only like 10 ideas are allowed to be worked on, and then you have to have like the team around you. So anyways, my idea was not popular enough because, one, I wasn't loud enough to, like, it wasn't the right atmosphere for me to even convince people of my idea. And I mean, my idea, it seemed like unique at the time. Like, basically, it was the business idea, the name of the business was Neatlier, and the idea was that you'd crowdsource people in your neighborhood to share used items, because you know how you have like used items and stuff, and so it would help you kind of clean up your area, because you could kind of share used items and whatnot. But anyway, the whole thing kind of fell flat. Now, my pitch was better back then because I remember it a bit better back then, but that was like really kind of awkward because, one, I wasn't 100% confident in the idea, and two, I had to like scream and shout basically so that people could hear me because I'm soft-spoken. So basically, the design of the atmosphere was not conducive to somebody like me who's highly introverted. Like, I don't speak well among groups and groups of people talking over each other. Like, one-to-one, it's great. Like, if I can hear you, then I can like do one-to-one and it's fine. But you're talking about a big room, I'm not gonna bother. Anyway, I was very frustrated that I couldn't get anyone on my team, and it's kind of disappointing. And anyway, my idea did not win the popularity contest, and I could see these droves of people hovering over much better business ideas at the end of the day. Like, those ideas were well thought out, and some of those people for sure had worked on their ideas for months and months and months. So they didn't come into this looking for help. They were looking for free labor, and they were ready to rock. They were ready to launch. So they were much more convincing, because basically it was a good opportunity to get free labor. I mean, if your idea was good enough, you have like a team of people working for you for free overnight. So the idea of it really made sense. All these hungry people looking for opportunities, and you know, some people they thrived in it, and it didn't make sense to me because like you have all these like engineers, and they're not like 100% extroverted kinds of people. They're pretty shy and awkward like me, and I don't know how they managed to do it. I was impressed that people were able to connect with each other, and maybe because they were engineers. The engineers were actually all in high demand, and all the business type people were in very low demand because there were so many of the business people. And then the designers were kind of like middle of the pack, so they were somewhat desired. But engineers, they were sought after. Oh, you're an engineer? Join my team. And like, they could basically choose whichever team they wanted to be a part of. So they didn't really have to put too much thought into it. But anyway, my idea was definitely not popular. So here I am. Idea is basically shot down. And now the next task is for the people who aren't part of a group, like your idea was shot down, you need to scramble to join another team that is going to be active, and you need to work with that team. So I go around trying to say like, oh, like, can I join your team? And they're like, no, 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 we have enough people. It's like, oh, what are you? Oh, marketer? Yeah, we've got enough people, so we're good. So then I go to the next team, and I'm like, well, hey, I could join your team. And like, yeah, we're actually full. Yeah. And then I go to the next team. Oh, you're a marketer? Yeah, we already have like 2 marketers. We're good. I go to the next team. Oh, we need a designer. Are you a designer? No, I'm a marketer. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, and I go to the next team. We need an engineer. Are you an engineer? No, I'm a marketer. Yeah, we're good for that. And by the end of it, I was like really frustrated. Not only had my idea been rejected, but all these groups were basically rejecting me. And it was like if you went to like a speed dating thing and you get rejected over and over again, and you're like the ugliest person at the speed dating thing, and you get rejected over and over and over and over again. That's basically what this was like. And it was very, very frustrating, because I'm like, hey, like, I can really help out. I was good at marketing in school, and like, I can really contribute. And anyway, now the MC reassured everyone that like, if you're not able to find a group or you're not able to find a team, we'll round out the scavenger, we'll round out the people at the end, and we'll get them together, and that will form a team. So then you will have a team, basically several islands of misfit toys. And you know, at the end of it, I really didn't want to feel like a misfit toy. And I think I just was exhausted. I was just mentally and socially exhausted by the entire thing. And at the end of it, I just decided to go home. Like, and it was kind of weird because the MC really insisted that everyone would have a chance to work on a team. And like, it's okay, don't leave and you'll be fine. And like, I just kind of snuck out. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try to, because one, not only did I put a ton of energy into trying to convince people, well, at least in terms of my introverted abilities, by the end of it, I just thought, yeah, I don't know if I have enough energy to even work on another idea by the end of this. I just was just too frustrated. So I guess I quit. I guess I was a quitter there. I didn't see the benefit of staying there. And I probably wouldn't have contributed much to a team because my morale was basically shot. Like, having been rejected over and over again. I mean, the whole thing just was socially awkward for me. And like, I didn't really go to many events after that. Any networking events, I just like wasn't very interested in participating. It just wasn't my jive, you know? It's like if there's a conference of tech coders next week, and you decide you're gonna go, but you only know how to do artwork and stuff, and you have no idea what coding is all about, and you decide, hey, I'm gonna go to this event, and I'm gonna join in and see if I can fit in. And I guess at the end of it, I just didn't fit in with that like whole atmosphere. So yeah, I left. I snuck out, and with whatever dignity I had left, and got out of there. But I really didn't feel good. And like, there are those situations where you're in like this social environment and you just don't feel good, and you kind of feel like you want to just give up. And I gotta say, like, giving up's probably not the best idea, unless you can like learn from it. Like, only go to these events, go to events that fit with you better, that aren't so like vocally competitive, because maybe your vocal skills are atrocious. Then probably should look at something that accentuates your talents. So, and I mean, I've been on some dates where it hasn't necessarily been awkward, but it's been like, there's no interest. Or, the first time I tried to ask somebody out on a date, that was terrifying socially for me, but it wasn't super awkward. I managed to secure the date because I was kind of awkward, but it wasn't terrible. But this particular startup event I went to, this is where, I was a bit older, in my 20s, and I'm thinking, I should have the confidence to be able to handle this, but I really didn't. And the whole thing was just a socially awkward experience. Since then, I have gone to some networking events, but I try to stick to my strengths of just doing assignments, doing tasks, doing projects, trying to keep away from the networking. But I have noticed as I've gotten older, like once you hit your 30s, you kind of like, you just don't care anymore. So then you can just kind of be yourself. And if people hear you, great. If they don't, whatever. And you spend less time trying to impress people and just spend more time expressing yourself. And the people who care will listen. Anyway, I wonder if anyone's listening to this, if they've had a socially awkward experience. And if you're willing to share it, share away. Could be anything. But I just want to say that no matter if you are introverted or extroverted, you might be in a socially awkward situation, and you might look at that situation and say, I'm never going to try this activity ever again. And I have to say that's probably a bad idea. You should give it another go. Don't look at it as a failure. Just look at it as you came off a little awkward, but with practice you could get better. And that's the important note at the end of this. With practice you can get better. You might find that one socially awkward experience is just the beginning. And then if you go again a second time, you're a little less awkward, you're a little more confident, and then you go again, you're a little less awkward, and a little more confident, and you kind of keep chipping away until you're just being yourself. But if you give up after that first go around and you just say, forget it, I'm never going to another event again, or I'm never asking another person out again for fear of a terrible outcome, what's the worst case scenario? Somebody slaps you in the face? I mean, it just doesn't happen. People wouldn't assault you like that unless you were truly offensive. But you kind of know. Well, if you don't know, you'll learn. But how will you learn if you don't kind of put yourself out there, I guess? And I guess I could do a better job. I don't want to give too much advice because I'm not the role model for networking events. Like, I don't go to networking events every week, so I don't want to become like the role model. Oh, you should go to like 5 networking events every week. Like, figure out your activity where you're like truly yourself, and then expand on that, and then you will be in a situation where things feel natural to you, right? This event that I went to wasn't natural. It was pretty straightforward. It was not a natural experience, but you just have to find those, and then just kind of go for it. I've gone to some networking events after, and with time I've just been more of myself and not shouting and not trying to prove a point. So, hey, I've mentioned this before. Things like this, they just kind of come with age and experience. And the more experience you put yourself through, then the better you'll be for it. Yeah. But definitely don't beat yourself up too much. Kind of look back on those things and maybe give yourself a chuckle and move forward. Because that's basically what you have to do. Move forward. Okay. That's an ASMR talk for you. Until next time, bye.